Hello and welcome to my channel, and thank you for being here. As always, I appreciate you guys being understanding with the holiday. Last week was also just a rough week mental health wise, but with the holiday, I did not do a Memorial Day segment. I felt like that's a time really to be remembering our fallen soldiers, and that was the most important thing to me at the time. So I did not do a Memorial Day segment. Or a true crime segment, because as I said, it was a holiday and it needed to be focused on the fallen soldiers. As somebody who has two members in the military, or two family members that were in the military, one is actually, they're both deceased now. So that being said, we're gonna just get right back on schedule and we're gonna hop in with Missing and Murdered. As always, these are tragic stories and most of them involve small children. So here is your content warning. It sucks. Starting with Amanda Lynn LeMaire, was an 11-year-old girl from Taslina, Alaska, who was murdered in 1991. She was last seen walking along a rural road near her home to meet a friend. Her body was discovered 10 days later, showing signs of sexual assault and fatal gunshot wounds. Charlie Smithart, a local man, was arrested and convicted of her murder, receiving a 114-year sentence. However, in 1999, the Alaska Supreme Court reversed the conviction. In December 2000, Charlie Smithart died in prison from lung cancer, having never faced his second trial. On Friday, August 22, 1991, 11-year-old Mandy left her home in Taslina, Alaska to meet a friend along a stretch of road between their houses. They planned to walk back to Mandy's house together to play. When Mandy's friend arrived at the meeting spot, she found no sign of Mandy. After waiting for a while, the friend walked towards Mandy's house, hoping to meet her along the way, but there was still no trace of her. Concerned, Mandy's family began searching the surrounding area, including nearby trails and paths leading to the main road. When their efforts yielded no results, they contacted the police to report Mandy as missing. As law enforcement conducted their search for Mandy, her family and the local community assisted, directing their focus on the nearby forest. They speculated that Mandy may have been startled by a moose and fled into the wilderness, which apparently is very common in Alaska. I've never been to Alaska. I do have family in Alaska, but I've never been there. So apparently, though, that is like really common, just wildlife just walking up on main streets. As law enforcement conducted their search for Mandy, her family and the local community assisted, directing their focus on the nearby forest. They speculated that Mandy may have been startled by a moose and fled into the wilderness. A sniffer dog was enlisted to assist in the search and tracked along the road to the point where she was supposed to meet her friend. However, the trail abruptly ended there. On September 1st, a group of searchers found Mandy's body. She had been shot twice in the face and once in the head. Her arm showed signs of bruising and there was a cut near her lip. It was later confirmed that Mandy had been sodomized by an inanimate object before being shot. Evidence also indicated that she had been bound with rope. In November, authorities arrested 61-year-old Charlie Smithart, a retired pipeline worker, at his home in Copper Center. Smithart had participated in the community search for Mandy after her disappearance was unusually and was unusually interested in the search. He was charged with first-degree kidnapping, first-degree sexual assault, and first-degree murder. He was booked into the Matt Sue pre-trial facility in Palmer and held on $450,000 bail. During the investigation, a local resident who knew Smithart, Dave DeForest, told detectives that he had seen Smithart's tan pickup truck minutes before Mandy's disappearance and near the area where Mandy had gone missing, raising suspicions about him. Later, one of Smithart's cousins came forward, stating she had seen his truck about 2 hours after Mandy disappeared, near the location where her body was found. While she couldn't confirm who was driving, she was certain it was Smithart's vehicle. While she was testifying her sighting of the truck during the trial, Smithart said sarcastically as she left the witness stand, "Thanks, cuz." A search warrant was obtained for Smithart's truck, and investigators discovered evidence linking him to the crime, including 2 blonde hairs and traces from the truck's mat that matched fibers found on Mandy's clothing. When confronted with the evidence, Smithart acted oddly, repeatedly asking investigators whether they had found any of Mandy's hair, jewelry, or blood in his truck. He also made remarks about his attraction to girls as young as 11 or 12. Like, comments like that, I mean, I don't know, to me, that would be, like, enough for me to be like, yeah, you should probably, like, go somewhere. If you know what I'm saying, you'll know. Further investigation revealed traces of iron flecks on Mandy's clothing, believed to be from welding. Smithart, who was known to be a welder with a workshop at his home, was likely the source of those traces. In addition, investigators spoke with one of Smithart's adult daughters in California, who disclosed that her father had molested her as a child. She also revealed that her two sisters had been victims of his abuse. Dave DeForest, the man who said he saw Smithart's truck near the crime scene, was a convicted felon who had moved to Alaska while on probation for attempted burglary in New York. So here's my issue with DeForest. Any other court would not have allowed this man to testify because he was a convicted felon, and nobody's going to take the word of a convicted felon. That is how it would be in, say, the state that I live in, and most U.S. states are like that. So I'm not really sure why he was allowed to testify, because usually if you have a criminal record, you can't even serve on a jury, let alone testify in court. So I'm not really sure what was going on there, but it does kind of sound suspicious if you ask me. That's just me, though. So DeForest had given a time card that suggested he was away from his workplace for a short errand around the same time he saw Smithart's truck. But upon further investigation, it was found that he submitted a different time card to his employer, stating that he had been present at work the entire day on August 22nd. So that alone is like enough to get his testimony thrown out. Like, your boss is saying, no, you were definitely there, and you were there all day. Not saying that this guy didn't do it. He probably did do it, because let's be real, he was kind of weird. But Dave DeForest should not have been used as any substantial evidence. A fellow prisoner testified that Smithart had confessed to him while both were awaiting trials. During the trial, Smithart said Mandy had never been in his truck, and that he had blonde hair found there that was likely that of a friend's son. He said that if he killed the girl, he would have dumped the body in the fast-flowing Copper River, not the woods near her home. Woods, not words. Ultimately, the jury convicted Smithart of Mandy LeMaire's murder. Smithart showed his outrage and was taken from the courtroom by guards and placed in an enclosed media booth while the jury was polled on its decision. Smithart was sentenced to 114 years in prison. However, in 1999, the Alaska Supreme Court overturned the conviction, ruling that the defense should have had more opportunity to challenge DeForest's testimony. That I do agree with, and suggested he might have been the actual killer, which is also a possibility. Charlie Smithart died in December 2000 from lung cancer, was still in prison, having never undergone a second trial. Now, I'm not saying that Smithart didn't do it. I mean, it kind of sounds like he did. I mean, if you think about it, all of the obvious evidence points to him. All that evidence is circumstantial. And the fact that DeForest had details that only a killer would know, and that didn't, like, his alibi didn't check, and he was a former criminal. These are a lot of things that could be thrown out in any court today, and I'm surprised that they weren't back then, especially in the 90s when we had that understanding. And, you know, they say it, and it's factual. The worst kind of evidence is eyewitness testimony, because stories change, people remember things, people forget things, people move away, people die. Never use eyewitnesses for conviction, but I do have a story coming up that absolutely fully supports that theory. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Dave DeForest did it? Do you think Charlie Smithart did it? Do you think somebody else did it? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye!